Hello, lovelies. It's your girl Jkay. I'm sure you enjoyed the wonderful holiday you had the passing week. Okay, welcome back. This is the BRR show, the business, relationship, and real life issue show. And on this show, of course, we talk about business, relationship, and any other real life issue. Today, I have a wonderful guest in the house. If you are not already on our YouTube channel, which is TLIG Africa TV, you need to go there now because the shows have begun. All right, so let me introduce you to my guests. We have Mr. Gbenga Adebisi in the house. He's the managing partner at Marturion Legal. Good to have you on the show.
Good afternoon, Jkay.
How you doing?
Very good.
I hope it wasn't difficult to get to the studio.
Not at all.
Oh, okay, nice to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so today we will be talking about how to pick the right candidate for 2023. All right, that is our major topic for today. But before we go into that, I would like to ask you a question, because before we even think about candidates and election, there are some things that should be put in place. So how can people be mobilized for the 2023 election? Because of the idea and the mindset people have prior to, because of the things they've experienced during election. Like some people will tell you, some Nigerians will tell you that there's no need to go and to go out for election now because they already know who they want to put there. They already know this. They already know that. Some of them don't even have voters card. They don't even care. So what would you have to say?
All right. So effectively, whether people choose to vote or not, leaders will emerge politically.
Absolutely, they've been emerging.
In fact, there's a local government in Lagos State that's a local government chairman emerged. But I think a local councillor, yes, with less than 200 votes.
Less than
200 votes. So for the number of those that failed to turn up to vote, 200 people decided their fate as far as that council area, that council area is concerned. And so for people, the question is whether you choose to go as such a franchise or not. At the end of the day, leaders will emerge, and those leaders will determine the fate of your locality, of your states, or even the nation as a whole. And so in choosing to stay away from the process, you are wittingly or unwittingly contributing to whatever it is that you might later complain about. So effectively, it's about choosing to be a part of the process, regardless of how displeased people may feel, regardless of how difficult the polity may be. Voting time is the time for them to then be able to participate in the process of determining who should be a leader.
Okay.
But of course, I've also heard that beyond getting to vote at elections, a better step would have been to be a part and parcel of a political party.
Absolutely.
So in that way, you're able to present yourself. Because if party offers people that are not viable, that don't have ideas, at the end of the day, one of those people will emerge. And
Absolutely.
so even if you have the best of
whether
intentions,
you participate or not.
yes, so it's about being even a part of the political process before even talking about the election proper. That's my take on that.
Okay. So back to the question that I asked, how can people be mobilized? Because would you say that, like you said, there was a particular local council that they elected somebody with 200 votes?
Yes.
Don't you think that more people are needed?
Yes, of course, more people are needed.
So how do we mobilize these people, from what they think of politics and election? How do we change the mindset of the ordinary Nigerian?
Okay, basically, it also starts from a place of self-awareness.
Okay.
Self-awareness.
Absolutely.
And second, it's also be about the need to realize that even if not for your own sake, for the sake of maybe for people that are married, your children, even if you're not married, for the sake of your parents, because effectively, either way, there will be a process of leaders that will emerge.
Absolutely.
And so, starting point, yes, being a member of a political party, beyond that, voting at elections. But before you vote at elections, you also need to have your PVC. And so that's a sine qua non, if I may say, which means it's a necessity for anybody. And so it doesn't matter what people may say to people, the jingles, people have to be self-motivated, and that's the way I see it.
First of all, you must be self-motivated.
It shouldn't be about inducement, because even if you are induced, for instance, with even if it's a bag of rice today as a family of 4 persons, that bag of rice can't take anyone for 1 year.
True.
So when that bag of rice is exhausted, what happens next? I haven't sold a vote for a bag of rice. So it's really about self-motivation. That's what I believe in, above all else.
Okay, absolutely. For some reasons, a lot of young Nigerians, the youth, do not take elections seriously. Because I was telling somebody that the last presidential election, I remember that when I got to, in my close, there was a polling unit. So when I got there, we're just 2 young people. As a matter of fact, the other person was a guy. I couldn't see young girls like me coming there to vote. And it was a bit disappointing because when I went back home, I saw a lot of young people playing football instead of coming out to vote. So tell us the importance of the youth in Nigeria participating in politics
Okay, so
come 2023.
2023, well, beyond youth participating, it's also about who are the kind of people that the youth should be looking out for, if you ask me.
Okay.
But before getting to that issue, youth, for the sake of, I'm a youth myself.
Okay. You're
So
young
for the
man.
sake of, very much young, so for the sake of our own future, if not about times past in the country, we need to be a part and part of the process. And why do I say this? If you look at the way the country is today, at various levels, at various states, you agree with me that a lot of youths are practically upset about the system.
Very
In
upset.
fact, there was a time I watched an interview on radio, on TV, and the lady said, "Who school help?" Like, that is even good
That's
that
the latest.
ASU is on
He's
strike.
on strike. That it's better for them to be home
And
because
so at the
really,
end of the day, there is a collateral damage, and which is the youth, for instance. If you're out of school, your parents are not able to send you a private university, or maybe outside of the country, then you are stuck with the system of
I'm
ASU of today,
frustrated.
tomorrow. So frustration sets in. People get into all manner of vices. And so it's also a question of survival, also about looking at your own prospect as an individual, as a young
Absolutely.
person. What do I want for myself? And how can I, in my own little way, do one or two things to make that happen? That's the way I see it.
Absolutely. Okay. There's been so much unrest in Nigeria lately concerning security, and then in the previous elections, in some polling units, you hear that some people just came, some unknown gunmen came to carry ballot box, some
UGMs,
unknown, they even have
UGM.
acronym, they came to do this one. Coming to come 2023, what would you say to the ordinary Nigerian that would give them assurance that come 2023, we want you guys to come outside and vote. We are assuring you that there will be maximum security. Anything like that.
Well, I'm not a part of the government, so I definitely am not in the capacity to offer any assurances.
Absolutely.
Other than,
But what would you say on that note?
yes. So the point is, it's about our collective interest, our commonwealth. That's the way I look at it. And so, if we desire a better Nigeria, if we desire a more peaceful and prosperous nation, then we have a choice to make, and that is to be a part of the process. And then, of course, if we gather in numbers, then these so-called unknown people that come to destabilize voting centers, they are not able to come out, with so much
To oppress anybody.
with so much brazenness. But it's when they see 5 people, 2 people, or maybe just old people, then they come and they are so, bashful in their approach. But when they see a place where you have about 200 people, they're a bit restrained because they know, even if I want to shoot 1 or 2 people, I may not get there from this place. But with just 5 people, 10 persons,
And mostly
they're
old people.
encouraged.
Maybe out of the
They're
7, 6 are
encouraged.
old.
They're encouraged. So for young people, you still have to do that civic responsibility by going out to exercise our franchise. That's the way I see it. Thank you.
Okay. Nice. As a young person that you are, I like that you told me that you're a young person. What can you say about the current situation in Nigeria?
Okay, for me,
What would you say about the current government in Nigeria?
current government. Okay, so for me, I see a government that has done well in some areas, and has not also done too well in other areas. But be that as it may, what I also say to you is that I believe leadership should be about intentionality,
Okay.
not just to go and occupy a space in office, but to be intentional, even beyond solving today's problems, also anticipating the challenges that could arise tomorrow, and trying
Absolutely.
to project how to effectively cater to those situations. For instance, now you have the problem of massive unemployment in Nigeria today. So if you look at the statistics of Nigerians that are not employed as today, they weren't just born yesterday.
No,
These people were born about 20, 20, 30 years ago. So
absolutely.
if our leadership had been intentional about putting in policies, programs that could have absorbed the graduates that have been churned out from university over the years, then it might not be as bad as it is today. But if
Okay.
there is no intentionality, then believe
This
you
is the
me,
ripple effect of lack of intentions
have
from
it
the
that way.
years
You have
past.
it that way.
Okay, the youth have been shouting and screaming. We want young people in politics. We want youth in government. What do you have to say about that? Would that make any difference, really? Because, I was in conversation with some people and they said, it's the old people that are making their ways of thinking is not how we are thinking in this generation. We need young people. We need a young president, probably in his 30s or in his 40s. What would you have to say about that?
Okay, yes. For me, age plays a factor, at the level of virility and agility. Because
Okay.
of course, it needs leadership involves even at national level, at any level, even as a state, it needs a lot of movements, a lot of meetings, even at very odd hours of the night of the day. And so age does play a factor as to the strength and agility. But beyond that, you also need to have experience, you also need to have capacity. And so it goes beyond just being a young person or being someone that's endowed with so much muscles, if you say.
Yeah.
Does the
Physical
person
muscles
have the intellectual capacity?
to
Does the person
rule.
have the mental fortitude, even the emotional balance, as it were?
Emotional balance is
Yes,
very
so a whole
important.
lot is involved beyond just having a young person. Many young persons in this country today, I mean, you can see many what young persons are doing today, channeling the energy into negative endeavors.
It's horrible.
And so it's not just because you are young, then the slate will be handed over to you. Do you have the capacity? Do you have the antecedents? Those are the issues that should be at the front burner beyond being a young person, I believe.
Okay. Um, this is a very tricky question, but I must go ahead and ask.
All right, then.
Majority of Nigerians have the impression that the presidential seat is left between two parties. Why is that? I'll try not to mention names. I'm sure you know what I'm saying. Is it really like a stereotype? Is it, or people will tell you it's between either this party or this party. It can't be another one. Why is that?
Well, I really don't believe it's between two parties.
Okay.
Yes, the odds may favor those two parties, but if we have another party that's willing to go through the rigors, when I mean the
Explain.
rigors, campaign rigors, mobilization, and not what have you, then it can be done. I give an example of a young guy in Kenya. He wasn't part of a political party, if I recollect, and he didn't have money to go do massive campaigns. He went door to door with his bicycle, and today he's a member of a parliament in Kenya.
Wow.
So
Really?
yes, yes, it happened. Yes, so it goes beyond the parties that have the structure. If some other party also is willing to put in the desire, to put in the effort, why not? It's possible. But they don't deny the fact that the two elephants are the parties to beat. And that's reality. But
Okay.
if some other party is able to step up to the, I mean, nobody knew APC some 9 years ago, before now.
Absolutely.
They came out from
Absolutely.
nowhere. It was a merger of different interests. And so who say there cannot be another party that can also challenge them and even overtake them? Just as
So
the,
there's a possibility.
it's a possibility. But of course, a lot of effort is required. And that's what that it is.
Okay. It's been a banter, or will I say a war on Twitter when the information came out that the form for the presidential, post to be a candidate is 100 million naira. That is a whole lot. So there's been, okay, they don't want young people to get involved. How can a youth get 100 million naira in their account? Blah blah blah. Really, what do you have to say about that?
Really, it's, well, you are talking about
Do
the,
you think that the 100 million naira for the form is to discourage young people from
I
participating?
don't agree with that.
Okay.
The 100 million naira is being demanded by a party. Even the opposition party at the federal level, I mean, the PDP is not demanding up to that amount. As I speak, I know of a party that's even offering their forms for free.
Oh
So it's
wow.
about where you choose to cast your
To
net.
cast your
It's
nets.
that simple. So if they choose to want to roll with the big boys
Their
in
form is
quotes,
100 million.
then if a young person desires to go that route, why not? You can crowdfund. If you can pull the resources together,
Yeah.
it's doable.
Okay,
You can
that
do
leads us to the
GoFundMe, it's doable.
crowdfunding
It's
that
doable.
people are doing now.
But of
Some
course,
politicians came out and said, "Okay, I'm going. This is the amount we're paying. If you want to support me, young people come, and this is the account to pay the money in."
in fact, I love that you mentioned that issue. So you know what
Okay,
happened?
what?
People were donating 2 naira, 5 naira to that very fundraising effort.
That is
And you
horrible.
know why? There was an antecedent to be read into the personality. This was
How do you
someone
mean?
that had said a whole lot about the ban on Twitter, a
Yeah,
whole lot, things that are not too complimentary, that are not too encouraging.
true.
So now that you now need us. If at the time, this very individual went ahead to form his own social media app, and I'm not sure it's still existent today. It may be, but I'm not so sure of
It's
that.
not functional.
So the person now coming up to come and, people,
Ask
it was
for
more of a ridicule.
GoFundMe. So they were like
But can imagine if you have a young person that has good antecedent, a good track record, why not?
that people believe
There are
in.
people believe, I'm sure they will pitch in. After all, you have people that did crowdfunding for their university scholarship, and people supported.
Absolutely, even for
People
things
supported.
that do not have eternal value.
Even health reasons, people supported.
Yeah.
Various reasons, people supported. So
Even for random, what do they call them? the BBN people.
Of course.
People,
Of
they just
course.
like them by watching them on
Of
their
course.
live stuff,
Of
and they like
course.
them,
Of course.
and they buy them gifts in millions.
In fact, I know a guy that I think he's left the New York University now for his masters. He did
GoFundMe. Wow.
and for every day he was updating the record on the internet, how much he had raised in naira, in dollars, and he was there.
And
Of course, he didn't
eventually,
raise the entire sum, but he raised some amount,
a good amount of
and it was
money.
part of what they eventually used.
Wow.
Yeah. So if young persons want to be part of the polity, if you cannot afford the sum being demanded by the two heavyweights, go to where you can
You get the form for free.
If not, maybe if you can afford it, but of
Why
course, this
not?
thing does not come cheap.
They don't come cheap.
So even beyond the party nomination forms, mobilization is a real task. It's a
Mobilization.
real task.
Yes.
I don't mean giving people inducements to get them
Not
to
giving
go
them
vote.
rice.
What I mean is even to have meetings, to have leaders that would
You must put in that
You need
effort.
the effort. You need the effort.
Absolutely. Okay, so now let's go to the main topic, which is how to pick the right candidate for 2023, because Nigerians are, especially the young people, I'm sure you're on social media, you're a young man.
Yes.
You see how we are gingering online, we have power. If it's by online voting, forget, we have won. The youth is the president,
Unfortunately,
you know. So the ginger is like 2023 is coming and we have to get it right. We have to choose the right president now because it's going to be with us. You know, some people are presuming the next 8 years. Yeah, it's usually 2 to 10 or so.
that's it.
All right, so
It's a possibility.
there's so much, you know, agitation, and you know, people are just ready. I don't know if we're really ready, but we appear like we're ready online. A lot of people appear like especially the young people. So tell us how to pick the right candidate for 2023.
All right. So I hinted briefly earlier when I said it's about intentional leadership.
Okay. Okay.
To make things go the way he wants. But having the will, knowing that, oh, the box stops at my desk. And with that understanding, the person is able to make necessary moves, pull resources together, pull people together, even if it's an advisory team.
Okay.
It's just about being intentional. And I give an example as to what I mean. If you look at the statistics today, the Southwest region has the advantage in terms of literacy levels in the country.
Absolutely.
And it has been like that for several decades, dating back to the days of Obafemi Awolowo. And so what you have today was basically foundation laid by Obafemi Awolowo. And likewise, or let me say maybe to the contrary, if you have some other region not doing so well educationally now, it's also down to what their leaders have not done over the
their
years.
foundation. Yeah.
So there has to be intentionality. And beyond just having intentionality, you also need to be creative, to be resourceful. And this goes beyond even the government level, even as labor union levels, ASU levels, and all what have you. I mean, I give you an instance. ASU has been on strike for only God knows how long.
It's been long.
It's almost like a ridicule now, practically speaking. But I tell you what, I give an example.
For skits and all.
Yeah, the agitations that they're asking of the government and all what have you, to improve pay of lecturers, university wealth, universities, facilities, and all what have you. But I give an example. I like to use this country because I've read a lot about them. Singapore is a country that fascinates me a lot as a country.
Why?
You know, as of today, the largest retail mall business in Singapore is owned by the labor union. The largest. It's called National Trade Union Congress Fair Price. In fact, when it was started in 1973, it was started by the Trade Union Congress. Okay. When it was successful, another trade union body also started theirs. So in Nigeria now, you have Labour Congress, you have NUPENG. So you can imagine NUPENG starting their own business. And that being so successful, independently, you didn't have, let's say, teachers association also starting their own. And because it became so big, they then merged. And today they are quite big. And you know why I started that idea? It was the response to inflation in their country.
Wow.
They felt the price of commodities was getting beyond the reach of the average government worker because it's not so much of a big country. And they felt, how can we pragmatically address this challenge? And they felt if you can get into the space whereby people buy their basic commodities and offer them at a little price, maybe a little profit margin, it will have a long way in reducing the effect of the inflation on them. And today, that model has prospered so well. So beyond just calling for strikes today, tomorrow, it's about being creative, being resourceful.
Being a solution to the challenge.
Of course, it doesn't matter how long as to strikes. At the end of the day, what they want is better treatment from the government. They
Increment
cannot
of
force the
something or
government
that.
to
Yeah.
do it. Of course, they can make all the pressure group and all what have you. But at the end of the day, if government doesn't pander to their wish, they can also look at how do we not shut down the system in its entirety. I know that some universities in the UK also go on strike,
Yeah,
but
true.
not totally shut down the system.
No, they
It could
don't.
be a day in a week. Other days they are
They're
running.
working, yeah.
But it's about making your points known. But beyond just relying on governments, how can our leaders at various levels also be a bit resourceful, to think
Resourceful.
outside the box? And I'm saying this passionately because, for instance, in my sector, I'm a lawyer, legal
Yes,
practitioner.
legal practitioner.
For the last couple of years, I've worked majorly in the maritime sector. If I were to tell you that the inefficiencies of the Nigerian sport system, talk of you have a vessel, maybe you bring in some goods into the ports and it's stuck at the ports. That has created room for many countries in West Africa, going down to Central Africa, to profit from our inefficiencies. Because if you come to Nigerian ports and your vessel is stuck at the ports, the vessel owners paying about $10,000 per day as demurrage.
Yes, if you
They would
leave it there
rather
and don't
they
float
would
it.
rather go and what do you call it now? Bet their vessel in another country that works. Let's say Cameroon, even Congo now. They go as not even Lome, Togo alone, not even Benin. They go as far as Congo, yes, and they now ferry those goods over the land to Nigeria. So you can imagine, in our failure to address the difficulties of our port systems, we are exporting jobs, we are exporting opportunities.
And those nations, they are the ones that getting the advantage that comes
Of course
with
they
those
are.
things.
So it's about intentionality. If you're intentional to solve problems, it's about having
Problem
the so
solving
then look at
mentality.
who can help you with these ideas. You have people that are all over the place. You can bring them together, but as a leader, the person has to be intentional to make things work.
Absolutely.
But if a leader is not intentional, then the lack of intentionality also means that things will also deteriorate. That is it. Life above vacuum. That's where it is. So as you have people that are told now because of us to strike, they are into a manner of vices.
No manner
It
of
will happen.
vices.
There's no rocket science. It will happen.
Human beings are not meant to
Not
be
everyone,
idle.
not everyone will be a pastor or an imam in quotes. They'll be God fearing. For the vast majority, I'm sorry to say, they get into a manner of vices. But if they were positively engaged as at now, their attention will be tuned away from those things. But in failing to do that, you can see how many girls that have been taken out
Killed.
every other day now in the country. So for me, the key factor is intentionality. And number two is about antecedents. Who is this individual? What has he done in his history?
Okay.
In the private sector, in the service, in office.
What has this person done?
So
Who is
beyond
this
just speaking
person?
grammar, I
I
will.
will. It's easy to say I will.
Yes, your antecedents speak a lot about your capacity, about your ability. And I mean objective assessment, not just to say, oh, you are this person, you haven't done anything. The person has substantive power to act. For instance, now, I could be in an office and just be a ceremonial figure in that office.
Exactly. Like you're not even
I have
doing the job.
substantive powers. Not because I don't want to, but because I'm not empowered, whether by law or whatever means. So I may be in the office, but some other persons are putting the level of the powers, and so it's beyond me. But what I mean is objective assessment of each individual. What is your antecedent? What have you done with what you have had to handle in time past? I think those are the two critical factors. For me, I'm not looking for a saint in office, honestly speaking.
Okay. You
Yes.
don't want a saint. Someone will just
I'm
be
not
and say,
looking
"This
for a
person
saint
is
in
so
office. I'm
good."
looking for a saint in office. I really am not. Even if you're a bad person in quotes, really. I mean, the person that transformed this Singapore, he was a military kind of a person. He was there for several years. So it's just about the character of the personality and the history behind the person. That's
That's
it.
what we should look out for when choosing a candidate for 2023 elections. Okay. I have a final question
Okay then.
before we end the show. All right. In this country, Nigeria, nobody believes, majority do not believe that the government is working. Is the government really doing anything? Because I don't know why. I've been opportune to interview some. I've interviewed a local government chairman. I've interviewed some people in the government office, and I've realized that they're working. But majority outside, the citizens of Nigeria, once you just talk about Nigeria, they say, no, our government is not doing anything. President is not doing it. The governor is not doing anything. What do you have to say about that? Are they really working?
Okay, so speaking for the government,
Is the citizen just exaggerating or really?
okay, so it's about the perspective we're looking at the issue from.
Absolutely.
Now, there are various sectors of our politics as a country: educational sector, health sector, and other segments.
Yes.
But for me, a key sector is infrastructure. So
Infrastructure.
without infrastructure, there's little not so much that can happen in other sectors. And that's the truth. So for these governments, I will give them thumbs up for
Okay.
their effort in the infrastructure space. Without a doubt. I mean, without a doubt. I've seen what they've done. I mean, look at the Terminal Bridge here. For some time was shut down. I think
Yeah,
even
it was shut
twice.
down. Yes,
They've had
twice.
to.
There were problems on the bridge.
In fact, you can even see Lagos all over the place, road being blocked, and gradually it's getting eased up gradually. So of course, you cannot say there is no effort being made. But the point is putting everything into perspective. What's the effects? Because the ordinary man is how much is the price of Gary today? How much is the price of Gary? Is the price of
We're
rice and
going to
what
get
have you?
there.
So if those things are still not at the level they should be, then the effort being made may not be so appreciable, it may not be so meaningful, and that's the sad reality. So I would say efforts in some regards are going on well and going on smoothly, but in a lot of other areas, a lot more needs to be done.
A lot
That's
more
how I
needs to be
see it.
done, but
Yes.
it's not like the government hasn't done anything.
No, I
Like
won't
the
say that.
ordinary
No,
Nigerian will
I
tell you
won't say
that
that.
we're just in this country
And
suffering.
maybe also, let me also add that a bit of lack of communication, I think, has also compared to this situation, because you have a situation whereby the government is doing a lot in terms of empowering the young people in terms of the Jeep loans. Now, some will say, "Oh, it was about vote buying." That after the last election,
Yes.
it stopped. It's still those programs are still running till
They are
date.
still on.
They are
That's
still
another thing
on.
I want to say. They are
They are
not
still
being,
on.
the information are not
They are still
coming as
on.
they should.
They are still on. But you say, "Oh, it was about vote buying." Beyond that, yes, it happened close to the election at the time, but it's still until today. So are they
And people
buying
are
votes from 2016?
benefiting
Yeah,
from
people are still benefiting. It was approved
initiatives.
by the National Assembly. So it wasn't just an APC or a Buhari government's sidetrack agenda
It
to
was a
just.
general thing.
It was a central government initiative that was approved by the National Assembly, and it's still being implemented even till date. And they've even increased the levels of the loans being given. The amount they've increased it. They've increased the amount being given as loan. And so, but of course, because a lot of people don't know that, they say, "Oh, nothing is being done. Oh, we are not enabled. We are not empowered." Put up a structure. Put up a good idea. Even Bank of Industry, see, they're giving out loans to people. So if you fail to do that, of course, you cannot expect someone to come help you give you a lift. As you're about to say,
They won't
it
come
is
to
a
your
child
house
that raises up his hands
that you will
that the
carry.
parents will lift. Thank you very much.
All right, this final one. This one I have to ask.
Okay.
Small titles used to be like 500 naira in the market. It was something you said that led to this question. That was
Okay.
supposed to be the final one. But
Okay.
now it's about like 950 or 1,000 naira to buy Titus fish. And everybody's blaming it on the government. Is that true?
In fact, that's the
If
honest
Gary
truth.
is expensive, rice, really they are, because I did shopping recently, so I know what my eyes saw. It wasn't like we didn't hear that things were expensive, but the reality of when I wanted to buy some things and I'm like, okay, why? Even egg is 100 bucks now for one
Yeah.
egg.
Yeah.
Like the reality of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it the Nigerian government that is making our food expensive?
Well, a lot of factors are actually responsible for that.
Yes, please tell us those factors
In fact,
before we go.
at a time, I'm not sure if that's been addressed, but I read that a lot of countries are even coming to buy food commodities in bulk from Nigeria, because food prices are cheaper in Nigeria compared to some other countries in Africa. So they come in to mop up our in large quantities
And take it to their
to
own
go sell
nation.
in their own countries. Yes,
Oh,
I had that same situation too, also happening with the petroleum sector too.
no, the
Nigeria's
petroleum
oil is cheaper
well
than you
known.
have than Cameroon, Ghana. So
Yes.
they rather come and buy cheap and go sell and make extremely high profits
I'm aware
returns,
of that
margins.
one. Yes.
And so that's a factor. And that factor also what we Nigerians also do to ourselves as a people. I mean, I don't want to believe that even this year, I mean, I bought some egg this morning and the price has practically like doubled in about 3 months.
So unbelievable.
And if price go up in this country, it never returns.
It never goes down.
Never returns. In fact, during festive seasons that you have discounts in other countries, that's when prices even go up
When
in
we
this
are supposed to
country.
be doing sales,
Yes,
it's the other way around.
in this
here.
country, the other way around. So I believe it's also about the way we Nigerians
We
relate.
individuals, we treat
And I give
ourselves.
an example. There was a day I had a course to take a keke and pep. That was some years ago.
Okay.
And bike man charged me an amount that was unusual. And I said, "Okay, why are you charging me this amount?" And it was practically bitter. And I said to him, "Okay, you know what? That amount that you're charging me, it won't get home to you. That amount that you are charging me now, the pepper seller will collect it from your wife." So the mentality that if I increase prices, I've had more in my pocket, it's an illusion.
It's an
The other man that is
illusion.
also rendering, will also take it back from you. So we are just ripping
They
up
will also
ourselves.
inflate prices for
We
you
are practically
everywhere.
ripping up ourselves. So it's like you just round
In a
trip.
circle, we're just
Yes,
like doing ourselves.
that's it. So if you
at the
like,
end of
be
the
selling
day,
your own rodo for whatever you like. The person selling tomato also increase their
we
own.
also do it to you.
The person selling
Meat,
pure water also increases.
yeah, we
Also,
also.
we are just
So it's a
in a
ripple
way.
effect of what
Yes,
is
in a
just
way.
going round
I'm
and
not saying
round.
the system has not contributed to that state. I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying that in a large extent too, we Nigerians also need to be a bit considerate.
Compassionate.
Considerate. It's about the dollar. Oh, dollar has skyrocketed. Even
Is
the
dollar
person
your
that is a
currency?
farmer, that dollar has skyrocketed. So I believe to a large extent, it's also about the way we fellow Nigerians treat us.
Treat
We should be better
ourselves.
inclined, better in our relationship with the fellow, particularly when it comes to our nature to want to make mad profits. Let me feel like not just to
Yeah.
profit and make
Mad profits. You want to
make
buy
all the
something 500
profits.
and sell it for 5K.
That's when Nigerians want to operate, make all the and then the other person will take it from you too. That's the sad reality. But people don't seem to understand that.
They just
Just
pour everything on the Nigerian government. That's
yes,
why everything is
of
expensive. Is the
course.
Nigerian government.
So it's, it's,
Wow.
it's, it's a motley of various factors. Let me put it like that.
Wow, Mr. Gbenga, Adebisi, we've had an amazing time talking to you today. What would you like to say? Your final words to everybody watching us right now?
All right. So my final word to fellow people, Nigerians is that
Nigerians, especially young people.
young people, yeah, as of this time, I cannot say it enough hard to make the point earlier, but I'll reiterate it again. We should look for people that are intentional.
Okay.
Yes, what have you done in time past? And what's when you had substantive powers? I need to make that distinction. And then what we now, on the basis of what you have done,
Yeah.
we can assess what you will now do. Yes. But not to
Com-
assume that, oh, you had the powers, you didn't do anything.
Okay.
Yes.
So you check their history and what they've been able to change.
For me, it's very
That's how to
important.
choose the right candidate.
I don't believe any leader has all the ideas in the world. But a good leader should be able to pull resources together, pull individuals together, and make things work.
Absolutely.
But if you fail to be intentional, then lack of intentionality means things also go south.
They'll go
That's the way it
south.
works. Life abhors a vacuum. That's the way it is. Thank you very much.
You guys have heard it all from Mr. Gbenga Adebisi. Yes, we'll come to the end of today's BRR show. I'm still your girl, Jkay, and you know where to watch us. It's TLIG Africa TV. You want to follow me on Jkay _ OAP on Instagram, JKAY _ OAP, and then you'll be seeing lots and lots of amazing updates on all of our programs. Thank you very much. Stay on TLIG Africa TV because Celebrity Uncensored will be coming to you right away. Thank you. Say bye-bye.